Stop, close your eyes and reach out with your senses. Do you feel it? Yes, it's motorcycle news. In the last episode, we revealed fresh new spy shots of the BMW R18 BAGGER, and the number one complaint from you in the comments was the seating position and the fact that there are no forward controls. Now, I said personally for me this is a non-issue, but it seems to be a deal breaker for most. We'll tackle this a bit later, but first, let's see what the main differences are between the two versions of the R18 BMW wants to bring out, the BAGGER and the CRUISER. Stick around. Alright, first let's start with what they have in common. The heart of the beast, the 1800cc engine, will stay identical to both versions. BMW has already published the power specs for this, and while the power is not very impressive with its 90 horsepower, torque is where the party's at. And with almost 160 Newton meters at a very low 3000 RPM, you will be dancing all the way down the road. Interesting to note is that from 2000 to 4000 RPM, you still have around 150 Newton meters to play with. So this engine was definitely built with torque in mind. The frame is also shared between the CRUISER and the BAGGER, and by the looks of it, so is the suspension. There is a hidden monoshock on the back, and the forks seem to be identical between the two as well. Now, when we're talking differences, obviously the biggest one is the front fairing. The CRUISER is more of a naked imagination of the R18 and bears resemblance to BMW's second concept, the R18-2. While the BAGGER with its huge front fairing is definitely designed with comfort and wind protection in mind for much longer road trips, the CRUISER will be your go-to for much shorter trips and any rides around the city. This explains why the fuel tank on the BAGGER looks quite a bit beefier compared with the CRUISER. While the CRUISER comes with spoked wheels, mostly for looks because you're not gonna take this off-road, the BAGGER has cast wheels. When it comes to creature comforts on the CRUISER, a small round instrument is all you get, although there could also be a smaller LCD panel hidden somewhere in there. This is, however, peanuts when compared to the arsenal in front of you if you decide to go for the BAGGER. 4 separate instrument clocks, most probably for speed, RPM, temperature, maybe even a clock in there somewhere, but the true piece de résistance is the massive TFT screen under the dials. This thing is massive. It's almost as wide as the fuel tank. If I had to take a guess, I would say it's at least 14 inches diagonal. This will obviously take care of your navigation, all of your entertainment on board, which could include CarPlay and/or Android Auto, and of course all the settings which the bikes allows you to change. Now, considering the switchgear is BMW's standard one, the one they use on most bikes, on the right hand side we can see the starter switch, on the absolute top the hand warmer switch, and in the middle the button for changing riding modes, which makes sense because BMW really has kitted out the BAGGER with a lot of tech. So we can expect different levels of traction control, cornering ABS to save your butt when you inevitably make a mistake. And speaking of tech, on the front we can see the radar sensor, which will most probably be used for adaptive cruise control, although it's not limited to just that. So lots of tech. On the CRUISER, however, you get none of that. Just pure riding pleasure, with or without ABS, we don't know yet. Getting back to the riding position of the R18, it is virtually impossible to have forward controls because of the massive boxer engine that is in the way. If you are used to forward controls, yes, the riding position of the R18 will definitely be weird to you, at least at first. Will it be uncomfortable though? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. It's more of a question between control and comfort, and yes, you can sort of have the best of both worlds. Mid controls allow you to hug the bike more with your legs and thus control it better through curves, and also to shift some of your weight to the pegs through your legs while riding on bumpy terrain. The compromise would be to install highway pegs in order to keep your feet forward on long stretches of road. At the end of the day, I don't think anybody has ever said that the Honda Goldwing or the GS for that matter were uncomfortable for long days of riding, and both of those have mid controls. However, the proof is in the pudding, and if you are on the fence about this, definitely go to BMW and test ride one when they finally become available. Speaking of availability, considering the fact that BMW opened up pre-orders last year already for them, and the pretty finished state in the spy shots, there should be an official announcement in the next couple of months. Let us know in the comments if forward controls or the lack thereof is a huge issue for you, and we'll see what everyone thinks. Well, that's the show for today, everyone. Give it a big thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and if you think you've learned something new, consider subscribing or becoming a patron to help us make more of these shows. Cheers, and I'll see you on the next one.